Hello, people. Long time no see. Oh, drinking coffee. Sorry. A chair for good. Got a whole pot. Anyways, it has been a while since I put the video out, and it's because all I do is work. All right. But I felt the need to at least put this one out because a lot has changed in my life. So through Ancestry, I found out that, I got other videos on all that stuff, but long story short, we boated here started in Switzerland, Western Germany, Eindhoven, over to the United States, to the New World, blah, 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 migrated down the Ohio River to the state of Louisiana, spread to all other corners of this United States. Currently living in the Seattle area, Washington State. Now, when I kept tracking back further and further, the original ancestor's name of Teutsch, we came from Switzerland. We came actually originally from Denmark. I had this map of last names and stuff that I found on the internet, and we had some family from Norway come down and hang out with us this summer, and he says, "Hey, you darn fool, that's Denmark on your map." I know the map didn't say countries, it had the shape, the outline of it. He says, "That's Denmark. You're a freaking Viking. You're not Native American like your people thought." Yeah, they thought they're crazy. But anyways, there was a guy from Cherokee County, Texas, and so they thought they were Cherokee. But I debunked all that in a previous video. Nonetheless, because of this Viking thing, I really started researching, and I found Asatru, which is in Iceland. It's the oldest people that still practice Asatru, and apparently everywhere in Europe was Asatru until the wars and Muslims and Christians and all these people struggling to be the dominant religion. Okay, so that interested me. Okay, what's it about? So the very definition of the word is to have a belief, roughly translated, to have a belief in gods and goddesses. Not one god, not one goddess, or it could be one god or one goddess, or not many or many. Doesn't matter. If you believe in a god or goddess, or many gods or goddesses, then you're Asatru. That's what the word means, to have a belief in. So in a sense, just like we were back then, we are today all still Asatru. Does not matter skin color, race, nationality. Our only differences are, well, like I explained in this book I wrote, where we're born and raised, right? What we're taught. Okay. So I felt it very important to share my little pamphlet that I made. Ooh. Yeah, okay. Looks reversed to me on screen. Hopefully it's reading the right way for you. Asatru Teutsch. Last name of my ancestors. And I looked that up. And, well, let's just read the book, shall we? For those who need it. For those who need it. All right. And I went with the traditional, like back in the old days before Europe was taken over by others. Opening from right side to the left till the book ends. And on the back, just for, I don't know, some type of description I wrote, it's an informative book or pamphlet that merges religious belief systems in order to have a universal harmony and end all religious warfare. So what I mean by this is a merger of Norse and Celtic belief systems. There are many variations of All Sutra. This is the one I believe my ancestors were, a merger of those two. So that's what I put into a book, and I'm going to share. Okay, let's do this. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I got coffee. You want to push pause, get yourself something, go ahead. It's roughly 10 pages. All right. And we're back. Okay. Page 1. I don't know how good I am at reading stories, but here it goes. This book is a fine example of how cultures can be merged and we can get along. Yeah. I started life in the Bible Belt, and I can relate. Oh, by the way, I wrote this. It's talking about me. All right, moving on. I started life in the Bible Belt and can relate to trying to find the oldest truths. Thanks to my DNA, I know my people were from Denmark, Vikings in origin. I have my personal reasons for actually believing in certain beings. I guess my point is, one can learn to recognize signs of a presence. In truth, if you believe in anything, then that thing is right for you. Yes. I'm rambling a bit, but different points of view can help people to understand. For example, remember that. Trying to paint outside all day in the heat. One can believe they are getting burned up by the sun. Been there. That's about me. All right. That the wind is blowing debris into the paint. Yeah. And I'm constantly having to drink water because the sweat is pouring from me. Or one could say, all of the gods are helping me today. God of the sun is drying the paint quickly that I may accomplish more. God of the wind is speeding my dry time. And the goddess of creation has given me tons of drink that I may be hydrated enough to bear the elements or better the help of all the gods. To take it a little bit one step next further, I could also say that I hear the ravens of Odin calling to each other in the trees, and that I saw Morgan's crow swoop down low and hang out with the pigeon of Luke. And all the while there was Freya's dragonfly sitting on a fence post in that hot sun the whole day without leaving so much as to get a drink of water, reminding me that the gods and goddesses are there with me bearing those elements. So I call my personal beliefs Asatru Teutsch. Now, to the actual story. I wrote a story about a couple of Odin's sons, Loki and Luke. Yeah. All right, it's page 2. Oh, you can get these pamphlets if you're interested. I can send you a PDA of it or Word document, something through Google. Just Asatru Teutsch. Make it one word, all lowercase, at gmail.com. If you got questions, comments, anything, Asatru Teutsch at Gmail. It's a separate Gmail from my original account, so just in case. All right. Asatru, a bog fog of paganism and a boast of Loki and Luke. 2 things I made up there too, based off of the Bible, which is, if you don't know, the word Bible means basic instructions before leaving Earth. So I did a play off of that. Bog fog and boast means book of guidance, forwarding our generations, and book of suppressed truths. I can play with words too. All right. Bog fog and boast. The facts in this book have been beaten down by the authoritative groups of mankind. It could have and has taken a lifetime of searching to find the information within these pages. When you believe mankind is perfectly capable of wiping out the dinosaurs, dragons, and mythical beings, creatures, then you're ready to continue this read. Yeah, I can believe that. For example, I'll prove myself a hero to the tribe, get the woman of my dreams by taking out that beast and collecting that magical, unicorn. Yeah, I could see humans doing that. All right, so now we're ready to continue once we believe humans could have been the reason these things got wiped out, right? All right. So, by the way, written by a human for humans. Proceed. So, in the beginning, planet Earth was already inhabited by giants. On the inside, dwarves in caves, elves in the woodlands, and humans that lived in, turn the page, small tribes and villages on the outer surface. Humans lived in small towns and villages on the outer surface. All right. The giants were emerging, and all were at war. Many did not stand a chance. One step back, so. There we go. Beings from the star constellation Freya's dress and girdle. Anyone know where that is? I'll give you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7. Forget that. Okay. It is Orion's belt. Before it was called Orion's belt, it was called Freya's dress, or the three. Orion's belt is Freya's dress, and girdle, the constellations coming down from the belt. It's like a sword holster for Orion. Yeah, that's the girdle. Dress and girdle. All right. They took an interest. They decided to breed the violence out and give the humans a chance, in hopes that they would be the ones to keep the peace on planet Earth. This is a fictional read. I'm not exactly sure how all this happened. This is just the best I could come up with for my storyline. Okay. All right. I mean, I did research too, but to make it as accurate as possible. But you can research for yourselves. That's the beauty of it. All right. And if you don't have time, well, it's good enough, right? All right. These children were placed in the human village. Oh, wait. We didn't talk about children, did we? Okay. So the beings took an interest. They decided to breed the violence out and give humans a chance in hopes that they would be the ones to keep the peace on the planet. They chose a giant woman to birth the first gods formed with their very own Orion's DNA. These children were placed in a human village. Okay? Because of their strength, they were seen as and titled the first gods of our planet. Yeah, you could see that happening, right? Different variations of same old stuff, right? These children, having knowledge of their Orion origins, they happily accepted the positions. One of these first children were Odin, Allfather, An, Odin, Anu, and Woden, etc., etc., etc. In Wikipedia, Odin's different names if you really want to go that route. Okay. They would battle against the giants, mythical-looking creatures, dinosaurs, and abomination of mistrials of the DNA creations. So it's kind of a modern spin on an old tale, throwing actual DNA creations in makes more sense, logically speaking. All right. Abominations of mistrials. Okay, of the DNA creations. Because of this, they would become heroes to the people. Later, when the creatures had died off, our heroic duties for humanity had turned into slaving away for the governing bodies to prove ourselves worthy enough and get money to enter Odin and Freya's hall. Okay? So, or heaven or whatever your end goal is, right? In the days of seeking out to be the heroes of humankind, one of Odin's 3 bloodless sons, Loki, now let's get big, went against the Allfather, and he was punished. A human lifetime sentence in chains. Odin's love for him kept him from being killed. One of Odin's other sons, Lugus, or Lug, was very fond of his twin, or Luganasta. Yeah, we can go on. Various names of people. And he would visit him regularly. Since they had direct Orion blood within them, they lived many human lifetimes. So a lifetime sentence to them was long, but they'd survive. However, when Loki's sentence was up, he was not allowed to return to the family until he proved himself worthy again. It's understandable from a father's point of view, you know. The family helped Loki, because he was family, to take on a new identity, giving him weapons to defeat one especially bad being of creation. Odin, out of love, gave his sword to Loki. His brother Lug gave him his shoes that could walk on air above water. Anyone know where I'm going with this? All right, here we go. This creation was, after all, in a watery swamp and was called Medusa. All right. Loki's new identity was now Perseus. Some of his family joined him with new identities as well to help him build up the backstory for the humankind folk, you know, in that area. His brother, Lug, was titled Hermes for his new identity, so they could quest together. The questioning of the family by people of humanity that were in need of saving made them make up tales of all manner of different heroic families from whence they had came before entering this new land. After Perseus, Loki, shape-shifting or identity-changing, kind of makes more sense logically. All right. After he did his deeds, he wanted to keep some of the amazing gifts that he had been given to be used on Medusa. How could he maintain his new character ID without them, right? Makes sense. So it was decided to let him keep some of the gifts and assume a final identity in some other land, because you can't keep all the gifts. Your new identity, all right. So he had earned his spot back into his Orion family. Lug wanted his original name back, so he traded Loki his magical spear and told him to keep the shoes as well, in exchange for the Adamite sword used on Medusa. Loki agreed. They went their separate ways one last time. Loki changed his identity a third time and became Mercury. Lugus took on a more original title, of which he shared with some of his Hermes followers before leaving. Turn the page. The land, okay? Hence the TOT rings that are to be worn with happiness and remembrance for the man and beings that are forever on the side of humanity and goodness. Now, I didn't write this in there. Later on, I explain what the TOT rings are, but a title is what it is that he shared with his followers, like Teutsch and Teutsch. And I'll explain what those mean later on. All right. I probably should have wrote in there that that's what it was, but read between the lines. All right. Lugus lived out his final bloodline as Lugs Wudones Teutsch. His surviving Switzerland ancestors that came from the gladiator prison of the Romans used the last name of Teutsch. I'm going to pause there because it just barely touched that. But when I was researching, this last name Teutsch and the gladiators. So, you know, they got like gladiator movies where the gladiator becomes the hero and frees all the slaves and they leave Rome and they're free men even though he died in the arena, and, you know. Well, the real story is when they escaped, the Romans went and rounded them all up. Yeah, the movie's not very accurate on that, but they rounded them up and killed them. So they escaped and got to live happily ever after. But if you research it, you can find in the fine print at the bottom, a few Teutsch survived. That's the only mention of survivors that I've found. Wanted to throw that in there. Okay. So, surviving Switzerland ancestors that came from the gladiator prison of the Romans used the last name Teutsch. Are we all abandoned nowadays, left to breathe the world into harmony, just like the gods and goddesses were trying to do? Or is there still a future fight to come for the side of humanity, freeing ourselves from the governing slavery of our planet? To believe in such things as this is to know that there is only one supreme being, the All-Father or Mother, represented by a circle symbol. You know, the eternal circle of life, right? In fact, no, we are not alone. We who are Teutsch are adopted when we believe in the All-Father and All-Mother, the O, and accept our roles given to us. The TOT, those TOT rings, you can research those, they're kind of cool, old, ancient. Some of the Romans kept wearing the TOT rings, holding a belief in their gods rather than converting, even though they were in the Roman army. The TOT are blood oath forever to the All-Father and Mother. Both all of us and our ancestors wind up becoming gods placed in the role by the Supreme Being themselves, a position of opportunity to bring help for humanity in the bloodlines of our own DNAs, fulfilling our duties as heroes. We are able, here's what heroes do, we are able to give our own people God's gifts. Keep listening. Unlocking the powers, don't go all sorcery on me, just pay attention, strengths and abilities within us all. Powers within, self-strengths and abilities. All right, let me keep reading. On a subconscious level. So teaching all on a subconscious level, there you go, to unlock their own abilities like self-healing, etc. I've heard it put this way before. I didn't write this in there, but I've heard it put where, you know, you could be flipping through things on your phone, scrolling the internet, and then something catches your eye and you go back to it. What was that? It's a subconscious level thing where one of the beings that we can't see, guardian spirits or God or goddess that we cannot see, that's just a title, God, goddess, guardian spirit, it's all titles. The being that we cannot see makes us go back because that something we needed to see on that internet or whatever would help us in some way. So they put it in your mind, hey, scroll back, stuff like that. That's how you can help from the other side. Hello from the other side. Okay. What a blessing it is for us to be the good gods of our people. We are all gods out of the love of O, the eternal Father and Mother. We all know who are Teutsch, and we all are Teutsch, who are born again back into Teutsch status. Teutsch, who are born back again into the family. Oh, Teutsch, if you're born back into the family, you're Teutsch. And we are all Teutsch status that choose to be the TOT, blood oath forever to The eternal O. Okay, so now I'm going to actually explain what I was trying to say in those previous sentences. All right, here we go. So, glad I simplified it a little. Teutsch equals God of the people. Rough translation. Reincarnated or born into the family for the first time. That would be a God of the people. Of the people. It'd be a person that is either reincarnated or born into the family for the first time. That's a God of the people. It's just a title. It's God of the people. And Teutsch is God of the tribes, the unseen beings or guardians helping us to unlock our powers without our knowledge. Teutsch, the unseen. Teutsch, the living amongst us. We ourselves are gods and goddesses, either reincarnated or born for the first time. So that gives you kind of an insight as to what the word God and goddess actually means. You know, using this Teutsch and Teutsch is how I had to find out. All right. So I put together this book in remembrance to my people and my God, Lugus Wodenis Teutsch, Lug Odin Teutsch, basically. He made the first blood oath adoption to be the son of Odin and Freya. He was the first hero of humanity except for Odin and Freya themselves. He was the real King Arthur before the tales were made up. If you look into King Arthur, you'll see that's a bunch of fictional stuff right there. Just saying. And Odin was Merlin himself while training Luke. If you do not believe these things, simply do the research on King Arthur. Research the photos of the real Odin and Luke. You'll be surprised to find the same spear, same staff, and swords. I was going to write ravens. I didn't write ravens. Ravens in all three characters. If you still do not believe, then fear not. As we better the world, for I realize that we are all Celts, pagans, Vikings, Hindus, heathens, and all religions that choose to be, or for lack of a better word, touched by the All-Father and All-Mother. Blessed are forever the TOT, pushing truth, abilities, and love for all. If the book is not enough, you compare it with the principal Upanishads until other works and translations become available, like the Thoth Emerald tablets. It can be paired with any religious book that speaks to you. It's that simple. Or, if it's right for you by itself, then don't pair it at all. Just keep it separate by itself, you know? All right. The point is to help the world live as one. That's what the whole thing's about. That's what all religion books are supposed to be about. We once were all Asatru, Asatru, however you want to say it, in peace and harmony with nature. We all were. When we all realize that we are the same, and we are all like that, then we will stop trying to conquer each other. Only our true differences are where we are born and raised. It's time we forward our future generations in love, striving to merge our hearts with emotion and thought. This is the hardest task of all. If it helps you to know why I have such a high interest in this, is why Asatru is very meaningful to me. I have sought out answers and truths. In the process, I have debunked lots of the Christian religion that grew up around me. I know in my heart of hearts I am a pagan believer in Asatru, and in longing for the oldest teachings of Asatru. With the God's help, I can and am bringing to light some of the truths of our ancient past and beliefs of the Asatru Teutsch. One such belief in particular is a belief that if every person did every job, believing in their way, their war, their ticket it is to the next life's treasures, a belief in the way into Valhalla, all the jobs of the universe could be completed within the first 4 hours of the day. I believe that. Afterwards, the results would be the rest of the day to keep yourself self-sustained, spent hanging out with your family and friends, accomplishing great things of personal creation and community support for all. Be like a vacation. The entire rest of the day, 4 hours of work, everything's done, because everyone is in sync. Another belief of the Asatru Teutsch is that each god has a special stone color associated with them. I will share the 4 that I personally use. These stones can be charged with your own individual beliefs in your own gods, providing the extra abilities as well as their own abilities with extra self-made energies, self-made healing forces, for example, so that like amplifies. Simply believe and place your stone in your pocket on the side of the body that the back is hurting. It's one way you can do it, and it helps your self-healing on that side. My 4 precious stones are as follows. The goddess Morrigan is a red stone, she's Celtic, with white in it. It's the best of the healing stones for me. It's good to note that this particular stone is also said to be the stone of the Anunnaki, or Anu, and is also said to be Paul or Peter's stone of power. I don't remember which one. My next stone is green and white. It's for my god Lug, whom I believe is to be married to the goddess of Morgan, or is married to the goddess Morgan. And then the goddess Freya's stone, who Freya is, by the way, Mother Earth. Freya's dressing girl, Mother Earth, is kind of an amber or caramel, even see-through color, kind of like the Jurassic Park movies, you know. Odin's stone is any stone with a natural hole in it, normally a white or crystal colored, if you can find it. Odin is, of course, husband to Freya. These are my 2 gods, my 2 goddesses and gods of protection and healing. Do not get hung up on finding the exact stones. Anything close will work as long as you believe it does. An example of use would be believing that the stone is charged with your self-healing abilities granted by the gods and placed in a pocket or pouch on the side of the body that is afflicted with pain, in order to make the pain tolerable enough throughout the working day. There is also a belief that all religions got their spark from a variation of Asatru. Any religion's instructions of war is a cover-up to hide the fact that they're started there also. Hide that chain link of truth. This needs to stop. The only way to accomplish this is a universal recognition or knowledge of love and awareness for survival and unity. Unity is pretty key. This is a basic need of all beings, to be unified. Just because I feel the need to include it here, here's my theme for remembrance on the winter solstice, which has currently been marketed as Christmas. As we know, Orion's belt was originally called Freya's dress, and Odin is the god of Midgard, which is another word for earth. So, since opposites attract, it would mean Freya would be the stars above, the north direction, right? And then Odin would be the south direction, earth, under the stars. The goddess Morgan, she is associated with the directions of east and north, and since north is taken, she then becomes the east direction. This, based off of the opposites attraction thing, leaves my god Lug as the west direction. Next, simply place their appropriate stones using a compass in their designated directions, forming my own little version of Stonehenge. For the center of the stones, place something of good intention and vibrations. One example, if you have the opportunity of being outdoors, is to pour pure water of life vibrations into the center. This would absorb into the earth as if entering through a portal to a realm of gods and goddesses, or just leave it open as an unseen portal that springs forth only goodness into the world. Remember that there are many worlds created in the cosmos based off of our thoughts while we are here on the planet of whence we were born. Find them and join or create your own bliss and or holiday islands for the next realms. Don't walk into that light tunnel. Be the light. Seek and find it within and let it shine. Sincerely, me. All right. Just because I can. Yeah, I got some symbols for Odin and Freya. I merged Odin and Freya's symbols, and I merged Lug and Morgan's symbols. Maybe I'll show them to you one day, but for now, I'll show you some examples. I got this precious stone, red and white. This one's mostly white. That would be Morgan. I got this from a very special relative of mine from Norway. We traded stones. I had one that was mostly similar to this, mostly red with white in it. She traded me one that was mostly white for red. Gave her my favorite one. It was kind of heart-shaped, but you get the idea. Morgan. Okay, Morgan's. It's not the best one. Lug. Kind of hard to see. It's supposed to be green and white. I do have better ones. They're just not here in this room. And then Freya, the caramel colored one. That was a hard one to find, but check it. And white. Yeah, baby. Caramel and white. It's not see-through. It's not the see-through version. But like I say, that's hard to find. Oh, here's one that's kind of got the see-through color, but doesn't have the white on there. It's got a little red in it too. But right there at the tip, it's kind of see-through. It's hard to tell on the phone. And then, of course, Odin. Some holes in there. You know, insect could have done it. It could have been on a small pebble. I have no idea, but they start to get little holes inside them. You know, it's just the best you can find to work with. You know, it's hard to find. All right, on that note, how about I pause and I'll show you the bigger ones that I found. I'm going to set up my circle with some this winter solstice. Oh, I forgot. I got some in right here. Here's a better Lug, green and white. And I don't know if you can tell, the lighting in here is kind of bad. This is with Freya. There's a little damage there, but it's mainly red and it's got just tiny bits of white in it. So there's different variations. All right, we'll end with the bigger ones in there. Okay, we're back. Show you these bigger ones. Morrigan. There's a little damage there, but I must have them in the ground like a little Stonehenge statue, you know. It's a pretty nice one. And holy cow, at the size of this Lug one I found. Mainly green, little white specks in it. So there's just huge variations. Oh, another Lug. Yeah, kind of cool. Alright, now, another Morrigan. I could set up a smaller, you know, if this was a whole rock, I don't like that they're broken, but I think it would have had a perfect circle of white there, all the way around it. Set that in there like a little Stonehenge thing, you know. It would be, this is my Freya version. I know it kind of looks like Odin because it's got this, but I think that's from injury. It's not really a formed hole. It's from being injured. But it's mainly white, but it's got that see-through caramel stuff in it. Just to show you some examples of variations, you know. And this was another attempt at finding Morgan with that caramel color in there. And there's an Odin hole in there, and since they're married, I guess works. This one is kind of strange. This kind of reminds me of, like, look at this side. It's like, I don't know, did I find a meteor? It's kind of like all kind of variations in texture and divots all in it, like it's a moon rock or something. I don't know. Anyways, they can fall. Be careful. All right, y'all have a beautiful day. Thank you for listening. Peace.